My faves. I mean, I almost can't believe it. I almost can't believe it. Oh my gosh. My faves here with Dope Stilo, here with Hard Art, here with Wizard James. I'm going to allow my friends to introduce themselves and I will go last. Let's start with the new friends first, right? So James, that's you. Why don't you introduce yourself to the people?
Hi everyone, I'm James. I go as Wizard James in the Web3 space. Uh, I'm an artist and animator filmmaker. I make NFTs and like to play around with the technology. And I also work in the film industry. I have a cartoon movie that's hitting festivals right now. I was just in New York City for the Tribeca Film Festival where we premiered, which was pretty dope. Um, I also immediately after that went to Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, where I did the Rio Art residency with Madame Selke and FDOT and a whole host of super dope, talented artists. And since then, I've just been traveling like crazy for art and movies and stuff, and it's cool. And I'm super glad to be here with my homegirl Maxximillian, who I absolutely adore. We had a great time in LA during the Farcaster event, Farcon, and just like ended up moseying around the streets of Venice, Los Angeles, and carrying on until well past the sunrise. And it was a grand old time. Also, super happy to be here with my boy Hard Art, who I'm a huge fan of, a good friend. He's the best. Well, I guess. All right, I'm just gonna say, and I'll be proven wrong eventually by Maxximillian, but in my opinion, he's the best interviewer that there is in Web3. He does well. Anyways, I'll let him introduce. He does these great interviews. We were supposed to do an interview. We met in Charleston. We were supposed to do an interview around the Beeple event, but we ended up just hanging out and partying and developing this amazing friendship. And instead, and still have yet to do the interview, but I love him. Dope Stilo, I'm very excited to meet and get to know because any friend of Maxximillian is a friend of mine. Um, and yeah, that's my intro.
Amazing, amazing. We did have so much fun in Venice, and I just got to give a shout out to Ian and Kate and all our friends that we hooked up with. That we had such a wonderful time at FarCon. It was really great. And Hard Art, I got to thank you for bringing Wizard James and I together because I got to tell you, man, it was love at first sight. I just love all the people that you bring around you. Hard Art, you're such a special person. So without further ado, why don't you introduce yourself to the people?
Sure. So I am Hard Art. I am a crypto art collector from the class of 2020. Went down that rabbit hole and have never left, despite the mass exodus, where many people have. I'm still here, still interviewing, still trying to explain this culture to the outside world, which I find very interesting, compelling, innovative, full of cool cats like yourselves, all here in the building. I have not met Dope Stilo Music yet, but I'm glad to be on the chat with him. Of course, Maxximillian has been an interview guest. And James, I got to correct you, bro. You have been on my interview series. You just didn't get your own spotlight. You were with
Oh,
you were with Andrew for
true,
the
true. Oh yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
We
Good,
do need to get
good
you
point.
on. We do need to get you on your own. And you've been a co-host, as a matter of fact, in Paris, because as James mentioned, he's been traveling a lot. I'm gonna fucking take credit there too. I got you traveling, and I made sure that you're at Conference Maxi like
Dude,
yourself,
big
and
time.
now you
I,
can't let it go.
I owe it
So
all to you, dude. Seriously.
you got bit by the bug. Well, it's not hard to do. I want everybody to be bit by the bug, and it's a good sickness to have. So I can see that you got red pilled and you're here for the long haul. It's like I'm glad to see that you are making all these connections well beyond the ones that I've ever made. I'm gonna have the role reversal next time we meet, where you're introducing me to all your Web3 friends, because like you said, the Rio residency are quite a few people I've never come into contact with. So I know a few members there, but that's going to be fun to have the back and forth next time that we meet. So we'll get to expand each of our networks. But I'm glad to be here. Glad to be talking about the 7160. It's something that when I discovered it, I thought was going to be a brand new tool from a great company that's very forward thinking, like Transient Labs, who I think is leading the space in a lot of the development tech tools, plug and play that we need to make this easy for creators, but not just easy, also future proofing. So this apparently is going to be a new tool, as Ben Strauss would call it, a new tool that's going to replace the 721 standard. Ooh, ah. That's what he feels. Of course, he's got an agenda as the CEO there, as a co-founder. Of course, he's going to push it as the narrative, but I think he's right to a large degree. So I'm excited to explore that topic today. I appreciate you making this the topic today, Maxximillian. And wow, you had such a detailed agenda for us too. You're very organized, where I'm not a lot of times. So I'm glad. I'm glad that you brought that to us. But I'm stoked to be here. Stoked to start this conversation. Thanks again, Maxximillian, for having us.
You're welcome, and it's my pleasure. And I have to thank you because without you, I would not have really known about the 7160. So I got to give you your props, hard art. And see, like everybody, when I say I love my friends, right? I'm not just being mushy because Maximilian is not a simp, okay? I used to be a simp, but those are my old ways. What up, Glorilla? So I'm saying, so when I say I love my friends, what I mean is like, good friends that will always uh, push you in directions that will help you expand and grow. And Hard Art told me about the 7160 contract because he knows I'm an artist and I'm always looking to expand. And he made an introduction for me and made a nice, warm introduction in a cozy meeting. So, it really matters so much. How you are introduced to a technology, I think matters a lot. So I want to thank you for the great introduction. And let me introduce my friend Stilo. We're going in newest to oldest friends today. So I want to introduce Stilo. Stilo, would you please tell the people about yourself and your world and how they can get into it?
Yo, thank you. Yeah, what's up, guys? Great to be here. Always love chatting with you, Maximilian, and your network is always brilliant and just awesome. So, thank you. My name's Stilo, and I'm a creator, and I'm embracing gaming and the metaverse to create a new way of connection and lasting memories. So we throw weekly concerts and have special events, and it's just a blast redefining what it's like to experience music and engage with social communities in different ways. So, yeah, integrating that with the blockchain and dabbling with fashion and tech, just having a blast.
Stilo is one of my most favorite creators. So he's got how many consecutive weeks of concerts have you got going now, Stilo?
We've done 134 weekly concerts in a row, every Wednesday, and it was just because I found something. Like I found like a like a gaming platform, a website, a metaverse VR mobile platform that you could like connect, like gamify connectivity. So I felt it, I saw it, I learned from it when I like streamed in YouTube like in 2012, and I was like, this is kind of like that next feeling. So I was like, I'm gonna be here every Wednesday at 11 a.m. And yeah, it's been almost like 2.5 years, something like that, two
I
years.
just, I just realized something. We should try to get you in the Guinness Book of World Records. I bet you're the record holder of this.
Yeah, I was thinking that the other day. That's funny. I was like, I wonder, like, there must be some kind of record, you know?
Yeah. And I think you definitely are the holder of this record because like nobody's doing this. You're the guy.
Yeah,
So I know there's like a form to fill out. So yeah, I think we need to explore that and like take it to the fullest that we can take it because you deserve that. You
nice.
earned it. It's
That would
yours.
be
Yeah.
crazy.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah,
Let's do it.
be a
Let's do
fun
it.
tweet.
Yeah, I because
Hey.
I think it's just a matter of like filling out the form, and then they have their whole process where they probably go through their verification process. But the first things first, we have to nominate you for it. We got to say, hey, look at this guy, look what he's done, and see what happens. Yeah.
Man, let's keep going. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, friends, my name is Maxximillian, and my friends call me Maxximillian. I am a digital fine artist. I have to say that because otherwise people try to be like, Max. And then
Yeah,
I'll be like, mm.
I'm sometimes tempted to, and then I'm like, oh right, yeah.
It's funny. It's like I tell people this because people go, "Oh, she's just being, fancy." Yeah, bitch, I am fancy. But also, it's my name. Haven't y'all seen Roots? I want to say, that whole scene where the guy's like, "Kunta, my name is Kunta Kinte. It's not Charles. You're not gonna call me Charles." People are always trying to call me Charles. Trying to call me Max is like trying to call me Charles. I'm not Charles. I'm Maximilian. So
No.
I do. So no, I appreciate it very much. Because most importantly, I want people to always know you're talking about me. One time somebody said Max and someone said Max who? I was like, no, no. So it's so important, to stay on brand for me. So I really appreciate it. So I've been in this space since 2021. Entered in about February and minted my first NFT then in like March or something. And it's really been exciting for me. I'm really excited by the technology. I was drawn to this space because I'd like to live forever. And when I say what I really mean is just some memento of me, my graffiti on the wall of this planet. I just want to say that I was here, and all of the lessons I've learned and the jokes that I can tell well, I'd love for them all to last a little bit longer than my person. And so for me, art is very much about leaving behind my whatever I've cultivated during my time here. So ever since I discovered that there was such a thing as like a web subscription service, and ever since the very first time I built a website and then it got deleted because I didn't pay the bill, I was very young. But I ever since that happened, of course, I sat there and cried. You know, I just realized like, oh, if if I don't keep this up, everything I created, it's not gonna last. And the more that I started investing into my tools and my creativity, the more and more it became important for my stuff to last because here I'm making all these huge sacrifices to bring this art to the world. But if it doesn't live long enough to be appreciated, I'm really just spinning my wheels. So I've ever since I've entered this space, I've been really interested in the technology because things aren't always like what they seem at first, and we're trying to make art last forever. So I'm very excited to chat today about this token 7160 that has been introduced to me by our friend Hard Art in Transient Labs. And I wanted to allow Hard Art to describe the token. And then I was thinking that maybe we could talk a little bit about how we might use this.
Do you mind if sorry, Hard Art, do you mind if I interrupt and ask a quick question?
Right.
Is this where is this being streamed like to the public? Is this on what platforms are we on right now? Like, and can
Yeah,
I
so
have a link
yes,
to tweet it
absolutely.
out to get more people watching?
Yeah, totally. Okay, so there's a couple things. Number one, it's on YouTube. So let me go to YouTube right now and grab the link. And
Cool.
it's also streaming to LinkedIn. So
Oh,
let me grab those links. So if y'all talk amongst yourselves, I'll go grab those links right now.
I was just I was also wondering if I've seen people do restream onto Twitter as well, onto a Twitter space. Is that something that you're considering doing in the future, or?
Well, so the thing about Restream is, yes, I can stream directly to Twitter with a Twitter premium account, right? But the thing is, I have some insider information. I can't say a lot about it, but our friend GodCloud is going to introduce me to a new streaming platform that I'm going to be using, and so that's why this might be like the last time that we are using Restream because we may move to this other platform. And that is going to stream to like all of the places. with like Restream and OneStream and these different streaming services, basically everybody wants you to have a premium account. And so it's like, a premium account for Twitter, a premium account for the streaming, a premium, all these premiums, you end up paying like a lot just to stream to platforms that are supposed to be free. And it's
Right.
not like I'm averse to paying for anything, but I want to like be smart about it because I have lots of platforms. So I'm looking forward to moving to this on-chain streaming platform.
Cool.
Yeah. So the way that this is working here is we're streaming directly to YouTube and LinkedIn, and I can grab those links, and then you can share the link on your wherever you want, and it'll be live for people that are watching it there. So let me
Okay.
go grab those.
Cool. Amazing. Yeah, I have a couple of people who are interested in tuning in. So
Sweet.
So I wanted to
Yes.
get that link. But sorry, yes. Back to the token.
Back to the token.
Take it away so I can grab these links.
Yeah, actually, that will be great to have the links because as we were discussing, Maxximillian, you and I, with Merve on the onboarding call to the lab, there's one individual at Transient Labs who's really into the music side. I would love to share the link with him. That's Daniel. You also know Daniel James.
Daniel's great.
Yeah, he's like a young phenom. He's like all of what, like 19 or 20. He's a rock star dev, but yeah, he's big into the music side apparently. So I'd love to get him in on the call. So once we get that, we'll send these links out. In the meantime, I can briefly explain what the 7160 is as I know it, and I learned a little bit more on the recent Transient Labs call. They're marketing this token as a multi-creation token, and the reason why they think that it's going to replace the 721 as a standard is because it's got a lot of functionality built into it. So it is a 721, to be clear. It is a 721 contract. So you could simply have it as a one of one, though that wouldn't be utilizing all of the tools that you could and all the functionality that it has built into it. So the cool things, in my opinion, about the 7160 are, I'll name a few. One, we've got this issue right now in digital art, in visual art, where we've got a display problem, a big fucking display problem, right? It's not only because the screen tech's not there, but even if you've got really good screens, I can't tell you how many times I've been into a gallery and you look at the screen and the orientation's off. So you've got something that's a 16:9 being displayed in portrait, not in landscape, right? You've got all these black bars on either side of the screen. It's not filling out the screen, right? Big problem in my opinion. Doesn't look professional. It doesn't maximize the screen. The whole thing about digital art is the flexibility is a great thing because it should, in theory, be able to fit virtually any screen, any size. So what an artist could do is with this 7160 token, they could realize that if this piece of visual art is going to be shown on different screens around the world, they could create different orientations, different aspect ratios. They could create a square, they could create a portrait, they could create a 16:9, drop it all within the same token. That way the collector has the ability, or the exhibitor has the ability to choose that aspect ratio depending on what they have at hand, what kind of screen they have at hand. I think that's big. That's something that most people wouldn't realize until they've started to display digital art, which, to be fair, I haven't even displayed enough of my own because the screen tech's not there. I have a screen that's gathering dust in my garage, but one of the reasons I don't want to mess with it is because like it's so clunky. But that screen tech's going to come, and it's already changing, in my opinion, to where I don't know if the screen manufacturers are even going to be the ones who win, because there's a few that are competing against each other. There's another company called White Walls, for example, which is taking your existing screen and an Apple TV and helping you cast it to a TV that you already own. So I think digital display is going to become way more ubiquitous, way faster than we even realized, especially if things like White Walls take foot, which they are. The beta just went live, and I think they're getting a really good reception. So that's big. Another thing is that a creator can add a lot of different files to one token. So I think this is particularly cool for music. I'm interested to hear Dope Stilo's take on this, for example. I can imagine a scenario where the 7160 is for your 100 or 1,000 true fans. I think these tokens are going to be interesting to play with for creators, keeping in mind that you are going to make one sale on this and not 10. So it's not like you do have to think about supply, demand, and what your revenue stream looks like. But for your 100 or 1,000 true fans that are willing to spend some money on a 7160, which would probably come at a premium price, then you could potentially have a track, an album that you drop. Let's say you drop 10 tracks, right? Well, you can start to crowdsource things like the visual art, like the cover art for that album, right? So I could say, hey, I'm running a competition right now, and I want to have people submit the cover art for this album because I'm not a visual artist, I'm a musical artist, right? Now that's where it gets really interesting with the 7160 because if I have, let's say, 200 people contribute art for this competition, I can do something really cool for those 200 and those 200 only, as opposed to doing an airdrop, which we're familiar with airdrops every token under that contract. So that would airdrop all 1,000 of my collectors something. I can say, hey, those 200 people and those 200 people only that contributed just to the competition, they didn't even have to win, but just contributed, just participated. I could airdrop them an acoustic track of one of the tracks or a B-side, any number of tracks, special tracks that I wanted to airdrop just the 200 participants, right? That's cool. This is a first, okay? Then let's say we have one winner. Let's say Maxximillian wins the competition, woohoo, for the visual art. So she gets a bunch of benefits out of that. One, she gets distribution if she's willing to give that art away for free, of course, but maybe we pay her, maybe we figure out some way. We can reward her, we'll talk about that. But if she's cool just giving her art away for free, no monetary compensation, well, guess what? Now we can do that full airdrop like everybody's accustomed to where we give Maxximillian's, we give her visual art to 1,000 people. Now, boom, maybe Maxximillian's not as established as she is. She's a newcomer to visual art, and boom, this is great. This gets her name, disseminates her art to 1,000 new people that had never collected her art. But importantly, I can go back again and I can reward her individually, just her and her only. And I can say, hey, Maxximillian, guess what? We're coming to LA. I'm going to airdrop you another one-of-one track that nobody has. It's a one-of-one track from our last live set where we were live in New York. And then you're going to come get to see that track that we only perform live, and backstage pass, I'm going to airdrop that into your token and your token only. Right? So you can start to play with these dynamics of individual reward systems, mixing in musical art, specific reward, musical tokens that only certain participants get, one-of-one tokens in a 7160 just to Maxximillian that only she gets, the kind of golden ticket backstage pass experiences that only Maxximillian gets, spreading out visual art to everybody if you choose so that way. You could even do a music video because it supports music videos. You could get some data on what feedback everybody likes the best, what track everybody likes the best, and then airdrop certain people music videos, maybe crowdsourcing the videography, for example, or the concept, or do an AI video. So that's a long-winded answer to tell you about why I'm excited about the 7160, but I'm curious to hear what you musicians feel like the potential of that is.
Well, I have a question though, because I wanted to just I have a couple of questions about the token and how it operates. So, like, I understand that the 7160 is a single token that can have one single owner, correct? So
Correct.
this is like a one of one. Okay. So I just want to just get a little bit into the details. When you talk about giving away, right? Art. Now, I have to just do a couple steps back. The other day, we were on the Transient Labs Twitter space, and I was cracking up behind the scenes because there's this fabulous art collector called Blondie. And gosh, she is so funny because I love the way she's so passionate about the art she collects. And, there was this same question came up because so Blondie owns the she bought the token for the art residency, the Rio art residency. Is this correct? Right. So Blondie owns all of the tokens in this 7160 contract, which includes Wizard James's work and the work of many other artists. And during the Twitter space, someone asked, they put forth the question, like, was she going to give away or share? And she was like, no, it's mine.
Yeah.
It's mine. And I thought that was so fun and so funny. So, but my question is, how does one give away something that's inside of a 7160 token? So, like, yeah, could you talk a little bit about that? Are they fractionalizing it, or how does that operate? Can she just pick something from inside the wallet and then send it? Or
I don't. Sorry, I'll jump in here if that's all
yeah,
right.
sure.
I don't think that you can take out any bit of the 7160 token. And there's two ways that she's collected Rio art residency token. We did a one of one. There was just like one that exists of a bunch of pieces of artwork that we made, and then there's the editions one where there was 150 of them. So those were two separate 7160 tokens that were made. The one of one, she brokered on with the founder, Madam Salki, on a private sale, which I don't know. I assume that we're publishing the amounts, but anyways, let's say that it was for a good solid chunk of change, and was a good payout for all the artists for the one of one. And then there were 150 editions that were like the main. That was kind of like the main. Those were all the kind of, while we were at the residency, we were all working on like our main piece that we're going to put in the token that would have editions. And then as kind of like a fun bonus, since everyone worked on so many different pieces while we were there, we did that separate one of one that Blondie bought. So I guess those are two different ways that you can engage with the 7160 token. It's like, I guess it's not unlike how the 721 token would have worked. It's just that there's more than one piece inside of the token that you can pick, which becomes the cover of it.
So these 150 editions are different, each one, or is it 150 of the same?
It's 150
Okay.
of the same. So editions, and then within them there was 19 pieces of artwork from each of the 19 residents.
Okay.
And it's the
So
same piece in each one.
Okay. So for friends who I'm starting to get this. So for friends who are like totally new to this, the best way I could describe this, and you guys correct me if you think I'm off track here, but I would kind of describe this as a domain and subdomain situation for people who don't know anything about smart contracts, and this is all like sounding totally new. I would say it's kind of like a domain and subdomain situation where like the main token would be like a domain, and then all of the artworks that are like inside of it kind of be like having subdomains. If is maybe that's like a way to describe it. I remember a couple years ago, there was like this protocol that was getting a lot of traction, and it was called Cortex. It's still around, but it kind of reminded me of like, it was like a smart contract where it was like a smart contract that holds smart contracts, something like that. So really interesting. So anyway, let me pass the mic. Stilo, what are your thoughts about this token? Have any ideas about how you might possibly use it?
Well, it's just the blockchain is a very interesting thing because it's such a perspective. And like, remember last week we were talking about how like you're in a Twitter space and you would see these PFPs, and some of them were like bored apes and this or that, and they kind of had like that was their fit and their flex. And like, let's like back in the day, like there was like profiles, and you had your song and you had your profile picture and your color scheme. So like with Twitter, you know, the blockchain, everyone used the blockchain to uh, identify themselves on Twitter and create movements. And I think like any type of new technology is awesome, and it's amazing to see different platforms come up with different strategies. For me, I think like, you know, I like it because I think like for me, I've created a couple collections and different types of things. My first collection was just a set of Polaroids that represented me, my vision, and the visual was like a studio session, in a Polaroid from like years ago. So that was really awesome to see that. And that led to me going, okay, now I want to do, everyone had a 10,000 PFP project or a 5,000 music project or a 1,000 art project. So I did 999 and sold about 120. And so for me, I'm thinking back, I'm like, it's nice to be able to go back and keep it simple. Like if you can, like right now, what would create a buzz? What would keep you hot? And I think like being able to have a short, small supply, even if it's five, and have that sell out in a day or 5 hours, like just starting small and selling out and then hitting the next milestone. Um, y- that's kind of for me like squeezing the pressure into collections and like how we can create scarcity and value.
That's interesting that you bring up scarcity. Are you still with us, Stilo?
Yeah.
Okay, okay. Um, there's just a little bit of lag on the video there. I just want to say, Stilo, while you were speaking, someone scanned your QR, so you got a new friend, a new fan coming in there
Nice.
to
That was
visit you.
me. Thank you, Jen.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. That's what's up. It works. Let's go. Let's go, fam. Let's go. You know,
That's right.
so this is amazing. So Stilo, I am a huge fan of yours, and out of all my musical friends, you're doing the most. And I hope everyone else is mad when they hear that, because I want them to go look at you and see why is she talking about this Stilo guy, right? Because you are doing the most, and I feel like the 7160 token is perfect for a person like you because you are doing the most. You have all of your different metaverse experiences, like all like let me just share how I'm looking at the 7160 token for myself as a musical artist, right? First of all, I have to say, champ. I love that you started off your musical journey with the Polaroids and the studio session. That is so it's just got all the vibes, you know? And I want to create that. I want to create that. I've been thinking about the token, how I can make it the most special. And I thought, oh, it's like a timeline. It's like a timeline. And if I look at it like that, I could share, for example, I have a whole album of songs, and the theme is higher, right? Here, let me play you a little bit. I was playing this earlier, just so you can see what I'm talking about. Bear with me here.
Nice.
Uh,
And while you do that, the reason why I brought it up or I did that was because a lot of music artists were wanting to get into NFTs, but they didn't have music yet, but they were super talented singing on spaces every day. And I'm like, "Dude, just take a picture of you by the river or in the studio or in your room playing your piano and make it in black and white and just let it represent who you are in that moment. And then get to the music when you have funds, like a professional recording."
can you hear it?
Yeah.
Sometimes the low helps reach for the sky. Higher is higher. Ain't no question why.
Oh.
Okay.
That's
So
awesome.
thank you. So let me pause this real quick. So just to give you an example, so like that's the first draft of the song. Okay. That's the first draft of the song. I haven't even put my signature on it yet. So because my music happens in stages. How cool! Like if you so, but first of all, do you feel the vibes?
It's great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Fire.
Right? Thank you. So imagine if you like that song, right? If you like that, right? Maybe you'd also love to see. Now, this is like part fantasy, part could be reality because I have to write this proposal and submit it to my friend. And maybe if he has time and interest and the stars align, we'll be able to do this. But wouldn't it be so cool if I'm able to uh, create the video where you fly with me to go to Quasar Studio and you get to see us record it together. And then when I'm asked to go to the White House and perform it, that's going in the token too. And then 3 years from now, when I perform it at the Grammys for my Lifetime Achievement Award that I got when I was only 24, just saying, it's going to show up in there too. You know what I'm saying? And then, when Bruno Mars covers the song because it's got so fire, and then you see me and Bruno Mars together taking a picture at the Grammys, that's going to be in the token too. So, like, every song can have a timeline, it has a life of its own. And so
Yeah,
that's
that's
kind
really
of
cool.
yeah, that's how I'm seeing this.
Totally. Yeah, like with for me as I keep going, Bonita, the 120 out of 999, like I'm not stopping. I made a really cool like stream overlay. I'm streaming every day now. And I'm on that mission to fill that, and like one day I'm going to throw a concert and I'm going to be like, everyone who holds this NFT, on the blockchain since 2001, you have a free pass to this concert and it's just for you and it's only for you. And like imagine what kind of value you could create.
I feel like it's all about people really want to have like personal experiences and like some sense of ownership of it.
Yes.
Yeah. And do you know, uh, I am like not fully familiar with the mechanics of it. Can you keep adding to the token like over time? Yeah, okay, cool. Just wanted to make sure. I was fairly sure that was the case, but yeah, that would be key to what you were talking about, Maxximillian. Which is cool. Yeah, actually, I guess I knew that already because I know that the Rio residency homies have plans to keep adding to. Actually, maybe I'm spilling some tea that I shouldn't be spilling, but yeah. No, I think Selkie's made that information public, but yeah, that's really cool that you can keep continually adding to it. I didn't actually think about it that way until you were explaining it, Maxximillian.
That's why I so wanted you to come because like think about like your animation, right? Like what a treat that would be for someone who's a fan of your work to like, I think of like you've got storyboards, you've got animation cells, doodles, your pictures of you late at night with bloodshot eyes,
Yeah, plenty of those. Yeah. Yeah, no, that was I chatted with Daniel of Transient Labs a couple times a few months ago, talking about this token as something as a way that I could be like kind of publishing an ongoing work in progress of my graphic novel / TV show that I'm making.
Tell us about it.
Yeah, it's I mean it's still very early, but I've posted some artwork of it. It's like a sci-fi kind of Blade Runner-esque graphic novel. Can I put an image in the chat or anything? Or anyways, I can show images of it at some point.
Take over the whole. You can share your screen. I would love for you to share your screen if you'd like. You can share your whole screen and take it over.
Okay, hold on one sec. That
I think you
sounds dangerous.
Press H. Press H to share your screen.
You're gonna see. Yeah. Press 8. You say? Wow, that's so easy.
It says H.
H.
It
okay.
says, I don't know if it works.
Oh yeah, it's like asking for permission first. Let's do. All right, entire screen. Fuck it.
Yeah, let's go.
Yes. Okay, am I sharing now or?
Yep. Hold on one sec. There we go. Boom.
Whoa. All right. Let's see. That's a page. I like that I didn't actually prep here. I'm gonna go private for looking for stuff.
Okay.
James, while you're doing
Oh,
Let
that,
us
okay.
know when
Here
you're
we go.
I
ready.
can chime in too if you want.
Sorry.
I can chime in while you're getting that coordinated on your end.
Okay. Sure. Oh, there we go. Here. Well, here's the poster anyway, and notice that I'm reaching for the stars by already writing Aubrey Plaza into the poster there. But yeah, it's like
Nice.
a kind of Blade Runner-esque sci-fi concept. I have put together the pitch deck for, and I have like I have some animation industry managers who are like pitching it around. But I was thinking that I wanted to create it on blockchain, and oops, and yeah, I think the 7160 token. Ah, there's a pup. I wanted to, I think the 7160 token would be an awesome use case. Like if I'm creating like a new shot for it, then I can like put in I can just kind of start with the storyboard of it, and then as I kind of fill it out, or a scene, let's say, then I can keep updating it and adding more and more stuff. Like I think Daniel and I chatted at length about how it would work quite well for like an ongoing graphic novel kind of thing, where people can be like having exclusive access. They would like get to tune in to see, they can check into their token at any point to like see the progress, and like build out the graphic novel that way. So that's an exciting use case for it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, Max.
No, you go ahead. You please, you.
So yeah, the question I think that it begs is, like Stilo mentioned earlier, maybe you sell a collection of 5 of these. Like these tokens are super rich, right? Like 19 101s or 19 even edition pieces from the artists at the Rio residency would probably be priced more than the point what 1 I think it was priced at, the editions pieces. James, you can correct me there. The Rio Art Residency tokens were priced at like 0.11 ETH.
Yeah.
So that's cheap, like really. I mean, inexpensive. I don't like the word cheap because it's quality.
Bargain.
And, yeah, it's like
Right.
super. It's like it's a high value, right? But I think the point with the 7160 is probably teasing out some additions, like something that's going to grow, that's going to evolve. I like the analogy Maxximillian made with it's like a chronological, it's a your little yearbook
that keeps
you're
on
growing.
giving.
Yeah. So like it does beg the question of like how much you should sell that for, because it does limit the artist's ability to monetize it. I will say that. That's going to be something that the artist has to make a decision for themselves, and of course, considering market conditions as well, and edition size. I think that's where Stilo said like 5. That struck me as interesting because I hadn't even considered that low of a supply. But like maybe you
Yeah,
sell
and then, dude,
5,
and then release another one that's inverted, and it's like drop the thermometer, in the mouth, and just be like, okay, 10, and like just keep, it has to be as organic as possible is like the main point. It can't be like a group of friends buying it or everyone's buying each other or anything. It has to be just like people want to do it, and that's how I think building community is super important.
Agreed. Yeah, I think if you did an edition, a super small edition like that, like 5.
And just change the colors, or maybe the next step, or another one and another one and another, be really cool.
Yeah. I think if you did 5 and you like knocked it out of the park, and even if you did price it very approachably at a high value, I think what you would get in response is, let's say you dropped a token, a music token, and you started it with 3 tracks and 1 visual. If Stilo continued to add to that, not as a promise, right? Nobody was expecting it, but you get these pleasant surprises. Like you wake up to your token one day and damn, I got a new track. And like next week, I got a new track. Holy shit! Like this is the gift that keeps on giving. Like people would make that known. And then I think by the next time you were ready to release another 7160 token, you could double your edition size and you wouldn't have to sell people on the value of it because your audience, your collectors already did that for you. They're like, dude, I bought what I thought was 3 tracks, and then I got visuals, and then I got a video, and then I got to a show, and then I got it just kept coming. It was wild. I can't believe I paid so little for it. It's such a crazy value. Maybe even if somebody's ready to part with it, you could, you might see activity on the secondary at some point. Like hopefully it goes for more than the OG price, and that's a reflection of the value that you built into the token. So I like where your head's at on that, Stilo. I just wanted to throw that in.
Hard art, you bring up a really interesting question. Everyone, don't hate me for bringing up the hard questions. How do we activate our collectors to become these great sellers of our works? Because that's like the real thing is like, you know, we love for someone to like collect the work and then instantly know that they should turn around and do a nice post about it and everything. But as an artist, right? And I'm asking this question for every artist, okay? Um, but I do want an answer if you can. As an artist, or let me flip the script. All of you are collectors, right? How could an artist approach you after you've bought their token? What's an approachable, affable way that they could ask you to advocate for them or to share that you just bought their thing without coming across as you just spent a grip of money now, get to work for me, sell my shit. You know what I'm saying? How could someone approach you or like how can we educate our collectors or how can we ask this of them because it needs to be said. We have to ask. We can't just assume that someone's going to buy our token and then turn around and be that advocate. So, how do we start that conversation?
Well, like, okay, so I think like when you start with like for me I'd be like buy two, like I would price it so that people could buy two. And so because it's hard parting with something that you bought sometimes. So like and you kind of like you like set the standard for what's going on here, and the goal is to enjoy it and also have one to sell, and let go of, which will only bring more value to your first one. And so like setting that standard, and like uh the reason why someone wants to like if you keep giving it, no one's going to want to sell it. But like if you have a connection with your collector's going to be like, oh, I'm putting your thing up for 1 ETH. I remember like one of mine when it was like she bought it for like maybe like it was like $80 at the time or something, and maybe there's 9 of them, and I sold like 5 of them. And she's like, she's like, mine's for sale already for like an ETH. And I'm like, oh wow, that's dope, and that's that. And she's like, yeah, I figured I'd sell it and then buy another one later, like flip it. And I'm like, wow, she had no problem. And that's the kind of collector you and the kind of like standard you want to buy, like have, and like kind of program within your community or your interactions. Long answer, but
Absolutely. No, I love look, we're here for the long answers, okay? It sounds like it sounds like you really lucked out because that sounds like a collector who's already deep in the game, right? She already knew like how to add value to you as a collector. And what I'm saying
Right.
is like, right. And so most people that we are reaching out to, like if we're bringing someone into on-chain, they don't know the etiquette. They don't understand the etiquette. Like people are used to iTunes. They bought the song, that's the end of the transaction, that's the end of the relationship. They don't have to go and tell everyone that they just bought the song. They're not thinking about community. They're not thinking about how to add value. They're not even seeing themselves as a member of your community. They just bought your stuff. If anything, you owe them something, maybe. So this is really a question of like, how do we like softly onboard people as valuable members of our community? How do we transform how we are seen. I don't know if this is the right way to phrase this, but like, how do we transform like how people see our relationship? Please take it away, Hard Art.
So I wish I had a Transient Labs rep because I don't want to misspeak. But even if it's not built into this functionality, I bet it will be soon. But my understanding of the 7160, I think, is your question. This brings out the beauty of the token. So I was reading a book called Drive recently. It was about motivation, and turns out this motivation, they call it 1.0, where you say, hey, you do this and I'll give you that, is it's a decent motivator, but humans get pretty bored with that pretty quickly. They actually want a lot of self-sovereignty in what they do. So there's a motivation 2.0 that you could utilize with the 7160 token, saying no expectations. There's no carrot out there. Like, there's no promises, but let's just say that you bought my photography collection, Maxximillian, and then you loved it so much that you spread the word far and wide on your video spaces, on your X profile, on all your social channels, and you did a great job spreading the word, and you were my unpaid marketing department to a large degree. I could take your token and your token only and give you something special. So I could give you that B-side track or that remix, or I could give you, the next time I go to Nicaragua to that same place, I take a new photograph of a new wall and I give you a new piece of photography. Only you, nobody else, just you. Even though there's, let's say, a collection of 10 tokens that I sold originally, right? These 7160s. There's 9 collectors besides you, but only you have something special. And I give it to you. I let you know that you have it. You can pin it. If it's your favorite, you can pin it, and that shows on your display, shows on your OpenSea, shows in your wallets, and that's a flex. And you're like, damn, that's cool. Like, Hard Art gave me a special one-of-one photograph that nobody else has, and I would have done what I did anyways, but because I did it, I got individually rewarded for doing so. Does that make sense?
It does, but I have a question again, which is, how do you let me know? So, like, how is this is another pain point for digital fine artists, right? Is the communication between collectors. Now, ideally, we'll be connected before any art sales are made. That would be nice. You introduce me to someone, we just establish a relationship, they buy my art, we're already connected, but it's not always that way. So, in your story, you said you airdrop this to me and you let me know, right? So how do we let our collectors know when we've dropped a new piece into the 7160? Do we know this yet?
I mean, in this new business model, this new internet, you should be like super integrated with what everyone, like, and I think you should have a really good way of communicating, in like whether it's your Discord or uh, an email newsletter, but you should definitely have something that is super consistent. For me, it's a concert every week, and and then I post the footage, and then we're always talking, and so any updates, everything, everyone kind of sees what's going on and gets going. That's for me.
That's what's up. So you're saying just be in the loop. James, Hard Art, what are your thoughts around how would you share an update on your token with the collectors? Like, when you have something new, how do you share that? If you were to do something special, like a drop, for example, to a particular person, like, how do you get that message across?
Right. Yeah, I think like I don't think there's any like notification mechanics built into any NFT that I know of. But I guess, yeah, you just have to be good at something that I'm terrible at, which is like staying on top of communication and social media, tweeting about it. I guess, yeah, that's a good way to add some hype and to be blasting out to your followers is when you update the token. It's like, it's kind of exciting. You can also, I think people resonate too with like a private chat. Like, it's kind of fun when you get to be in like the alpha chat that you only get to be in if you have one of the tokens. So I always like to do that with I have a Twitter chat for people who bought my collection that I dropped in January, if I'm doing something new, then I'll let them know earlier than I let like the public know through like a tweet. So yeah, I guess I it's hard for me to put myself fully in the psychology of a collector. In fact, that's something I want to understand better going forward. Like, yeah, what feels awesome? What gives them the dopamine hit from from being a collector of something? Is it getting like exclusive access, exclusive like early information about stuff? Yeah, I don't know. What do you think? What do you guys think? Like as collectors, like what gets you really excited?
Hard art, please, you first.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think this goes again to the 7160. I hope it credits the 7160 in that sense, because I think what the 7160 is trying to change is, if I go to my OpenSea right now, I had it pulled up because I actually looked at my first 7160 that I collected through All Seeing Seneca. And she has this feedback mechanism, and this piece grows and changes over time. It blooms depending on how long I hold it. So,
Cool.
yeah, it's
That's a
dope.
7160.
It's a 7160. Yeah, I bought it to a large degree to just see what the hell somebody's going to do with the 7160. So when I bought it, I thought about it like, okay, this is something that I might revisit. Like if I go to the middle of my wallet, I over collected for a long time. And if I go to the middle of my wallet, I'm like, oh yeah, I bought that. Oh shit, I forgot about that one. Like I haven't looked at that in months, maybe years at this point. And I think that's the whole point, is to have something that I want to go check on and see if it's changed. Like we go to our social profiles because there's notifications, there's updates, there's changes. We're seeing interaction. The Perils contract I can actually interact with and write back to All Seeing Seneca. So it's another level of engagement. And so I think that is hopefully the notification is like you're actually checking. I don't have to ask you to engage or check. You should be engaging with it on your own. If I make an interesting token that's growing, breathing, living, being added to on a fairly regular basis, and then from there you're looking at it and you're letting me know, hey, did everybody get this? Want this photograph from Nicaragua this year? Looks like a new one. I haven't seen it. No, and then I can say, I can surprise you. Like, no, that's just yours. Like, you got that because of what you did to help me spread my message without me even asking you to do so. Like, thanks, Maxximillian. You're like, oh my God, it's amazing. And like, if it really is like that, which I hope that it is, and I guarantee you, I think Transient Labs is probably thinking about this. But you know, that's really cool, because if I could individually add certain pieces of artwork or GLB files or music files or video files to your token and your token alone, Maxximillian, then your token is differentiated and it might have more value, and you might be able to sell it on the secondary for more, if and only if you're willing to part with it, right? But that would bring some new interesting dynamics to the token holders, and which ones were different, which ones had this different array. So I really want to know if that exists. I would love to speak from somebody to Transient. I think it does. I wrote about that as if it did. Maybe I was trying to will it into existence. But I think that would be really cool. And I think that's the reason they chose 721 versus an 1155, because those 721s would be unique, in that you could drop them versus a whole collection of 1155s. Like they would be edition numbers 1 through 10, let's say, if I sold 10. And then I could choose just number 7 to airdrop something special to.
Yeah, that's really interesting, because I also was really curious about why it was not an 1155, because, I think editions, it's like I want to sell records, not just a record, right? But because it's a 721, and just for friends who are totally new to smart contracts and NFTs and whatnots, a 721 is a one of one. 1155 is typically editions. Now you can have an 1155 contract and only make a single if you'd like, but 721 you can only have just like one of those. But it really made me think differently about like my music offering, and it's like I've been saying for a long time that the model for music has never really worked for independent musicians. Like independent musicians never should have been selling songs for $1. because it never was sustainable. Something like that has only ever been sustainable for big box kind of companies like music labels, where they have literally millions of songs, but it's never been right for the individual. But this idea of, this 7160 token reminds me of when I first got into the music business and I first started like trying to understand like who are the top collectors in the music business. How I heard about it was this engineer was talking about how some guy bought somebody's reel to reel. So like, you know, back in the day before my time, there's like analog tape with the music is on this analog tape, and some recording studios, you still see this huge thing in the corner, and it's for like these old like archaic, music audio formats. But as the first time I remember hearing, oh, somebody bought these masters and like how expensive they were. People were paying like hundreds of thousands of dollars for so and so's old, dusty, crusty masters, right? And because it's the literal analog recording of Michael Jackson in the studio. It's the literal one analog recording of the Rolling Stones. You can hear, people's belches and their farts and their, lighters flicking and their, you hear it all like it's the real analog recording. And I instantly understood why somebody would want to have that, because that's the closest thing you can get to being there and to have it and to own it, right? So this 7160 is kind of giving me those same vibes because it's a one of one musical composition that someone's paying a lot of money for. It's got historical value and these other things. So I feel like this is the new master.
That's a good context to put it in. I like that. And then
Yeah.
suppose the difference would be you can do one of X, right? So it's a master, but you could sell. Yeah, that's an interesting way to put it because that there's only one master in your context. But like the collection that I'm looking at is one of 3,000, I believe. All things Seneca, Perils of Cece, for example.
So when you say one of 3,000, just let's extrapolate that for people listening. You're saying it's one file, one version of it, and it's duplicated this many times for others? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, so
When you say 3,000?
yeah, so the one of yeah, it took myself quite a while to understand what the hell one of X means. Well, one of X would mean, let's say that James, and hopefully I kind of quote James talking about what he wants to do to fund a future project. He's got all this PFP experience, right? Creating the Rugged Souls, creating Ribbit, and so these are collections of like 4,200. Let's use Ribbit as an example. It was a play on the Turbo Toad cryptocurrency mascot called Quantum Leap, and they crowdsourced 40 artists to do contributions. They did honoraries of one of ones. So what you were buying in that collection was 4,200 unique toads that all looked like one another in at least the form. The form was the toad sitting like this. But when it came to the eyes, the hat, the skin, the tea, the background, those were unique. So one of 4,200, right? So yeah, that master is an interesting way to put it because it could be a master, but you could also build a collection that's a lot like each other in many ways, but is unique in certain ways too. Is unique in certain traits.
All right, I'm gonna fuck with it. I'm gonna fuck with it because I'm that bitch. So, so what I'm doing now is because of you. So, so I got the higher song that I played earlier today, right? Higher is higher, right? Okay. So, what if I do an acoustic 7160 of the higher token, and for that song, and it's if I do a trap version with Timbaland, it won't be on the acoustic 7160 higher token. So is so in this way, is it could this be kind of like what you're talking about, where it's the same, it's that song, it's the higher song, which is like the toad like this, right? But the eyeballs, the lipstick color, the toad is wearing a ascot in this one, and that's the one that I did in London with the London rapper. Give me that slop slop, give me that bop bop diddly bop, right? The higher,
Amazing.
that's how they sound.
Yeah.
I love that shit though. I love it. I love it. Give me that slop slop, right? Bop bop. So that would be like the trap higher token. So in this way, we could kind of have that same like timeline, and it could be that one of X.
Yeah, yeah, I think so, especially in smaller sizes. So for music, I'm thinking about the Hot Mood track I was listening to yesterday, and I'm looking on Apple Music, and it's got the Hot Mood radio edit. It's got the Hot Mood long, the DJ version. It's got 30 seconds, just blank, so you can mix it in, right? If you're playing a set, it's got the XYZ remix, right? It's got the funk style remix. It's got the non-vocals, the dubby version, right? So you could have a one of X, like probably a smaller collection, because in music, I don't think you tend to do more than, I don't know. Some of those tracks have maybe 5, 6, 7 renditions. I don't think you'd get into the hundreds of thousands, but yeah, I think on a smaller size, yeah, you could definitely do that.
Actually, the longer that you stay alive as a musician, the more renditions you'll have. This is no bullshit, right? You think about somebody like El DeBarge. Shout out to Poppy. Oh my gosh, El DeBarge. You have someone like El DeBarge who has a career in music for, I mean, like, and I'm not trying to say the brother's age or anything, but he's had to have had a career in music for over 30 years now. So, like, one of my favorite songs of his, there's probably there's probably 50 recorded performances of him singing that same song. And like, I would buy that token. I want to hear El DeBarge. If I could own every performance of him singing my favorite song of his,
Hmm.
I mean, like, I might never leave the house again. I mean, like, so this is like what I'm thinking is like, this is really like the longer that you live, the more valuable the token can become. And I think this is like, so I always keep my tea super hot and just respecting everyone's time. I would just like to share this and then we'll just go around. Everyone can maybe share your last thoughts. And I know you probably have lots of important things to do today. But I just wanted to, share this idea about like the value that we bring to collectors because we know music is valuable. We know that we love it. We know music is important to the culture because through our individual stories, even all the inanities that we share and the banalities of life, it's culture. It's really important. And I'm not trying to downplay the culture, and I don't want to, come across as being like overly sentimental when I say that there is a dollar value for music and that music is valuable. But we have to also be responsible and like understand that we're asking our fans, music consumers, to pay money for something. And if it's if we're asking for people to pay something higher than a disposable price, because up until this time, I feel like music really has been at a disposable price. A dollar 95, who cares, right? I mean, but if we are now elevating music to this higher level and now we're asking people to pay more than they've ever paid for music before, what are we offering? How is it different? How is it better? I think these things matter a lot. So I love this idea of this new vertical because I feel most comfortable paying a lot of money for something when I'm going to make money with it. And I'm not saying that I'm mercenary, but it's kind of like, how some people like to buy a house and some people want to rent an apartment. It's all about like your lifestyle and like how much are you willing to pay. If somebody wants a really, really, really nice car, they want to keep it for the rest of their life. You want a Lamborghini? Maybe you do want to buy that. Maybe you want to buy the Lamborghini, but the Toyota Corolla, maybe you want to rent that. You know what I'm saying? So I'm trying to sell Lamborghinis, you know? Uh, so I think this is a really great conversation to have. And I really appreciate everyone's insights. And I really appreciate the conversation. I want to invite everyone to join my private community. And I hope everyone will tap in with all of my friends here because each of us has something special to offer. And I want to go around and please definitely share something that we can purchase from you or follow you, something that you think is really that we should pay attention to. And it doesn't even have to be, your project. If there's a project that you just like and you want people to know about it, by all means, please share that too. And yeah, share your thoughts.
Maybe I'll jump in. So yeah, I have a couple of thoughts. I think the 7160 token is a really cool step towards something like that kind of innovative way to be putting out content to people and rewarding them for buying your wares, so to speak. Because yeah, especially knowing that you can continually update the token, and it's kind of it's like a way to give people exclusive access to something over time, which is cool. Or I think like the Rio residency is a good example of like kind of your standard way of using it, which is in itself already quite dope. There's like there's 19 really cool artists all in one token that you can enjoy all of their artwork. So if you have like the White Walls app on your screen, then you can display all of these pieces of art. It's like you basically by just buying one token, you're like buying an entire like gallery exhibition of artwork that you can display quite easily on your screens. But I think what's going to be really exciting with the 7160 token is like some of the stuff Hard Art was talking about with like if you're some Smarty Pants dev or work with a Smarty Pants dev, you can do cool stuff like what he was describing with the Seneca piece that like changes over time, or you can come up with some crazy interesting mechanic that like I haven't even like thought of anything wacky yet, but I'm sure there's some really cool shit you could come up with. And either way, I'm just excited about and bullish on this being a like what's the word, like an access point for fans of different creative people's enterprises. So I think for music, for example, it's kind of similar to what I'm trying to do with my entertainment and animation stuff. Like I'm trying to make I'm trying to make a TV show on Web3, like an animated TV show. And I think it's going to be really cool with this technology and like the technology that's coming out to bring in more and more people. Like I'm really excited about technologies where someone could buy a token on the blockchain, but without needing to have a MetaMask wallet and without needing to like hear the word NFT, to like buy a membership to someone's output, or buy some kind of like evolving piece of art, or buy some kind of 7160 type of thing where there's like multiple pieces in it. Like essentially a 7160 token could be a music album, or it could be a whole series of episodes of TV. And I think, yeah, like the technology is like totally moving in the right direction for that. It's just like the one kind of last, little bit, I think, that will help bring on like the masses more will be when, yeah, you just connect your Google address and your PayPal to pay for that access, rather than needing a MetaMask wallet and needing to like go to OpenSea to look at it or whatever it is. So yeah, it's like the more innovations like this that come out, the more I think it's going to empower. I think what it all is about, and what's still exciting, like despite NFTs sort of taking that big cultural hit after the wackiness of 2021, the thing that's like kept it alive and which will keep it alive for the long term is that it's always representing this way for consumers of art and entertainment to go directly to the artist to buy the work from them and to get to like experience their creativity directly without having to go to some middleman subscription service like Spotify or Netflix or whatever. So the more we kind of remove that barrier, that technological barrier that would stop like my mom from being able to buy the token. Like my mom's never going to be able to get a MetaMask wallet and go to Transient Labs and connect it and figure out how to like buy the token or whatever, or like get ETH into her wallet and stuff. But like the more we move towards yeah, the kind of like de-technologification of it, like towards the like facility for anyone to be able to buy it, like I think we're going to see some major shifts in how consumers uh, uh, like buy and access creative works, music, TV shows, movies, whatever, fine art. Uh, and the more platforms like Spotify that are, uh, so I think we can all agree kind of suck and like are just sort of like, just sort of, yeah, like sucking all the like life and creativity out of music. Like I would argue that the HBO and Netflix are doing the same thing to movies and TV. Like the more we can cut them out of the equation and come up with cool new ways to like distribute art and content and like access to the cool stuff that your favorite musicians and artists are creating, like the more like, yeah, the more liberating it'll be, the more like exciting it'll be yeah, to engage in art and music and stuff. So yeah, I think it's all really fun and exciting. I love what Transient Labs is doing. I love what you guys are doing. And yeah, I think we can maybe a future conversation we can talk about like something that actually Hard Art on his, I'll do a plug for you, on his dope show Spanglish on Twitter. We were chatting about that the other day, about how, and I think it's an ongoing conversation about how artists are now getting to become, I like to look at it as the glass half full way. You're getting to become the whole platform. You're getting to become the whole product. Like you don't even though that can be a little daunting, like I see so much value in that. It's like such an exciting time where like you are the whole the whole product that people are going to be buying and investing in. And yeah, like these cool, all the cool technologies coming out in the Web3 space are like enabling that in really dope ways. So yeah, that was my 10-minute rant about that. But yeah.
That's why we came. That's why we came. These, see, this is like our special time. It's like I always say, I'm here for the rants, I'm here for the rambles because that's where the gold is, you know? Yeah, because that's like, you're figuring things out. We're thinking and processing this together. It's really exciting. Steeler, you look like you had something on your mind.
Well, yeah, James kind of just reminded me about like I was watching YouTube like last week or a couple days ago, and there was they were talking about like in the 90s how there was like a huge surge of like independent movies, independent films. Like I remember, I think that movie called Kids, was it called Kids? Something like that.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people, took it to their own. A lot of actors, couldn't get in, just weren't get it. They may have done one movie and they couldn't get booked again. So, they start writing their own scripts, and this kind of what the blockchain, like what's happening right now with the revolution in like artistry, people are really starting to grab it in their own hands. They are their own platform. And how much they want it is how deep they're going. You could be soft and use, well, not soft, but you could be relatable, and and be with a community like OpenSea and a lot of other marketplaces, or or and you have your website where you really dive deep and you create that custom experience for your eyes watching. And like, yeah, that's what I wanted to say about that. But yeah, and then I had some other thoughts, but that was about like what you were talking about. So like what you were talking about, Maximilian, like the 7160 is like, we need new ways. We need new ways to innovate. We need to push the boundaries and pull back, do whatever we can to learn. Like, I feel like the more we do, we learn, and you could kind of sift through and find that gold and find what works for you. And so like the artist needs to be able to like update in real time, with these like with the blockchain data, and like the blockchain data and like unlockable links, like it needs better UI within the wallets as well. Like we need to be able to click on on a song in our wallet, or a movie, and be able to play that movie in the wallet. We need better UI, and we need we know that companies are going to be they're already using the blockchain on a foundational level. So like I see, like regular platforms like X or another platform like Spatial or Decentraland, they're using the blockchain on a foundational layer, but but the user activity is within the app, like Starbucks reward system. They're using Polygon, right? Like, so it's like they don't talk about it, but they're using it. Why? Because the blockchain is valuable and it's a revolutionary tech. So yeah, just want to say that.
Yes, I love it. I see a lot of Web2 companies getting into Chainlink, making use of the oracles. So that's definitely something that I think is super interesting. And hard art, I'm looking forward to your insights.
Yeah, well, let me first just say that I learned a lot from each of the guests here. I like what Dope Stilo was just talking about and obfuscating the tech, and James started that conversation as well about bringing in the normies. Like we are in this washout period where we need them. I mean, we need them. Like we're in a washout period where we were a victim of our own success, and we have this speculative
Mm.
fervor, of which I was not immune to, and is in fact why I got in this space to begin with. I'm glad that I stuck around because that's a lot of the reason why people come to crypto. Period. They come to for the money and then they stay for the sound money. They say in Bitcoin, right? So you find out these principles of the Cantillon effect, where the people close to the money spigot get better treatment than the people at the end, who all they get left with is inflation and less bread and milk on their table, right? So, but no, we've learned these cool lessons now, and so I think it's up to us to bring it back to those 90s days where you were talking about the movie Kids and you had other independent films, and James talking about the stripping of culture and really the rug pulling of a lot of the contributors who are making this great art at the ground level. They can get rug pulled at the last minute for tax purposes. A studio will come in and rug the whole project. So we've had this big loss of culture for that reason. Like I think music, I think film, TV, movies have suffered. Like, how many goddamn Marvel movies can we sit through? Seriously, like, and I like Marvel. Don't get me wrong. Like, I like X-Men. I like these movies. I like the originals. I like even through like the 10th rendition. But I don't know. Like, I don't think I want to sit through Spider-Man 246. Right? Like, let's bring back some unique films. So, like, how do we do that? We do have a unique opportunity to do it now through blockchain rails, through being your own platform. I think it's going to take some people willing to go out on a limb and risk it for a biscuit, like James. Maybe he can sell his characters to fund, at least the ground floor, like the first episode of a graphic novel, for example, and then get creative to sell more, build some interest around that. But I think we've really got to wow people, the outsiders particularly, to show them, oh wow, this wasn't about trading monkey JPEGs. Like there's actually something of interest here. Like there is something unique. There's something valuable. These artists are saying something. Wow, look, they're displacing the Netflixes of the world. They're displacing the Spotifys of the world. They're building entire series of shows. They're building entire albums with unique mechanisms behind them and reward structures and engagement structures built into these tokens. Like these tokens aren't just these static, um, really niche meme coins. Like I think about them sometimes, but they can be more. And the 7160, I think, builds on that and is hopefully going to bring some positive attention to the space eventually when cool people like in this room use them to do cool things. What does OG Crooked West say? Be cool and do cool shit. Like we do have to live that ethos, and we got to bring attention to this in a positive way. So I think the conversations like this and the 7160 will help us do that. But it's gonna be an uphill battle, but let's fucking do it.
Oh yeah,
There's
tingles.
gonna
Yeah.
Tingles.
there's gonna be a huge cartoon or something coming out of a project. Like one of these projects is gonna come to life, and one of these projects is gonna create something crazy, and they're gonna be using the blockchain and having a community. So let's see it happen.
So
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
That's the
uh,
next step. Is one of those things coming to life?
that's like my whole mission. So I worked on I worked up with the Rick and Morty people on all the like projects, including Rick and Morty and the tangential like video games and TV shows that they've done. I also worked on their NFT project, Art Gobblers, and I'm working with a bunch of animators in that like community to figure out what our Rick and Morty is going to be on blockchain. So yeah, I've been meeting with VCs and entertainment managers. Like when I was in New York, I met with my entertainment manager who I met through this film that's now doing the festival circuit. He's really excited. The VCs are really excited. Like the writers and animators are really excited. Like I think the big animation IP, I don't know if it's going to be me who shepherds it into existence, but I'm certainly like doing my darndest to get some momentum there.
You know what I think after that too, it would be a real boost would be like gamifying, obviously like I'm biased, but like gamifying that after like with like let's say you are a huge success, it's everywhere, it's big, and it would be really cool to have a video game that had like recurring income with digital assets and like stuff for your avatars and different things like that, like, and that's already happening. I've seen some projects like like some characters come to life and like come to my concerts. Like I've had, like, I'm sure you've heard of Shilly the board ape. We even did a show together and he even came in, and it was so cool to see a board ape like in the game, in our platform, and I'm like, man. So I see that coming real big time.
Yeah, or like say take the Crypto Angels video game that Trevor's doing, that Hard Art is
There we go.
shilling around the
Yeah,
world.
tell us about this. Tell us about the Crypto Angels video game. I mean, we can't not touch on this.
Yeah, sure. So let me get my 5 minutes of shill in. So
Yes, please. Give it
I'm
to us.
promoting. I'm a small part of Trevor's team, helping promote his new Crypto Angels Ordinals project, which is dropping August 7th for $42 plus inscription fee. So around $52 to own a collection of 7,777. And this will be a project, quote unquote, and also onto Ordinals. So as anticipated, was going to be a side project, a small side project, which turned into a much larger time suck and much more involved process than he had anticipated, was to build out a video game. So what he's trying to do is build a universe. And one element of that universe is the video game. So he has built 21 unique players that are some of the Crypto Angels you're going to find in the collection. So you can buy those on base. They're $7. They're collectible pieces. Once you have those in your wallet, then and only then can you log in high scores. Those high scores are going to benefit you for whitelist for now, for example. But in the future, you could see those being tickets to his castle parties, which are these massive epic parties that he literally rents out castles across the world, in Stirling, in Edinburgh, for example, and Chateau de Valerie outside of France, in Sens, just outside of Paris last year.
That was pretty good.
In Lisbon.
Good accent.
So yeah, that's right. So next year it's going to be Lisbon. The word on the streets is that it's going to be right around the NFC conference, non-fungible conference in Lisbon. So it'll be close by. So everybody have a good excuse to stick around. But back to the video game. So the video game has lore. It has crypto lore. And this is a good way to red pill normies too, is to bring in the SBF is an evil character. Sam Bankman-Fried is one of the evil bosses that you must kill, right? Gary Gensler is one of the evil bosses that you must kill and defeat. But you're running around, you're collecting Bitcoins. It's an old platformer game. Think Mega Man, right? So it's like a 90s platformer game, Transylvania, something of that nature, where you're going around, you're trying to use your melee weapons to kill some of the rug pullers. The rug pullers are everywhere. That's your common enemy. But you're trying to release smart contracts and collect Bitcoin. So yeah, it's cool. And you see crypto big dick butts in there. You see moonbirds. You see a bunch of crypto characters. And so this is bringing in crypto lore into a video game, which feeds into the universe. Yeah, this is the type of shit we need to be building, right? So like, this is these are these worlds and universes that we can build when we're our own platforms. And like this could potentially wow outsiders again after this just speculative mania that we've seen. Like, damn, like this artist went to great trouble to build a 7160 contract. Well, first he built a cast bronze
Dang.
sculpture as a phase one that came with a 7160 package of a PFP and a GLB. So I can literally, I'm excited to try this actually, Maxximillian. Next space, maybe I'll jump on as my Archangel Shamuel because we have an Unreal Engine model of my Archangel that I collected as a 7160. So, and then the video game feeds into that, which feeds into the Ordinals collection. Like, this are the things that I think could bring positive attention back to the space. Like, oh wow, these people went deep on this, and there's a lot of moving parts. And like, I would have to study this and join the spaces and play the video game to understand this whole collection. But I will. Like, it's engaging, you know. So that's what I hope we see more of out of this space.
Wow. I'm looking at your collection right now, and your the way that you incentivize and like strategize everything is just lay everything out is really amazing. Great job.
Yeah, Trevor gets
It's
all the
incredible.
credit. I'm just the head time shiller, you know, full time shiller. But yeah, I mean, he's spent 2.5 years putting this together. So I will give him your compliments.
Thank you. But I
Yeah,
mean,
it's
like
impressive.
even the strategy and everything like that too, like the way like when you hit 77, when Bitcoin hits $77,777, they're gonna take a snapshot and give more.
Yeah, yeah, one-on-one portrait at that point. So
Yeah, smart,
yeah,
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 this is really hot, exciting,
super hot.
hot, exciting technology, right? This is why blockchain is so sexy. Oh, right? Well, I know, I know we all have a lot of things that we probably got to get on and do with today. But I wanted to make sure that everyone had an opportunity to say your things. I see that we got 4 scans during the chat. So I know James, Dope Stilo, Hard Art. I know you got scans when we had your QR code. So this has been really wonderful. I'm really glad that we had a chance to talk and to share here. Let me throw my code up here. Boom, boom, boom. Where are we? Here's mine. So I look forward to seeing everyone again. And Hard Art, if you're down to log in as your Archangel and show us, what it looks like for you, that would be so cool. And James, I'm so glad you joined us today. And I would love for you to join us again. And if you're down to show us what you can of your project, whatever you're willing to share, we love to see
Absolutely.
behind the scenes. Great, great.
Yeah.
And Dope Stilo, you too, because it's like we're doing these things as each of us, we're doing these things that takes a lot of time to set up. There's like all of this preparation and work that happens that people don't really ever get to see. But what's interesting about it is it's that work that people don't see that helps us build the value, that helps people appreciate, all of these things that we're doing. It really is about, art appreciation really is about the technology. It really is about understanding like, no, I cut my finger, I squeezed my blood into the pigment to make that color. We want to know that. So I really want to thank each of you for your expertise, for sharing your passion and your art. Thank you for being you. Thank you for all of the sacrifices that each of you make every day to bring yourself fully with all of your integrity to the work that you do. And thank you for spending time with me and all of us. Until next week, everybody, take
Hey,
care.
go stream my new single, Feel. Dope Stilo. Dope
let's
Stilo,
go.
Feel.